P3, 3.3. Miriam's brother handed her a present. "Happy birthday, sis," said Peter. "I love to dive into a good book. I know you will too." "Dive into a book?" Miriam asked. "Wouldn't that hurt?" "I don't mean to really dive into a book," Peter said. "It means to get excited about reading." Miriam opened the present to find a beautiful book about sea animals. Miriam loved sea animals. "Thanks," she said to Peter. "I can't wait to dive into this book." That evening, Miriam sat in bed reading all about sea animals. She read about sea turtles, dolphins, seahorses, seals, and sharks. She hoped that someday she'd be able to explore their world under the sea. As Miriam was reading about a giant octopus, she drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, Miriam heard a loud splash and found herself drifting down to the bottom of the ocean. "What's going on?" she said to herself. She thought it was strange that she could talk underwater. Down, down, down she plunged. Finally, she reached the ocean floor. Miriam was standing in the middle of a big garden. "Don't just stand there," said a voice behind Miriam. "Help me! I've only got 8 arms, you know." Miriam turned to find herself face to face with a huge octopus. It looked like the one in the book, but this one was dressed like a farmer. The octopus was doing a bunch of chores all at once. As he plowed a row for kelp, he sowed seeds and counted bales of seaweed. "How can I help?" asked Miriam. "Hitch the seahorses to my wagon," said the octopus. "I've got to get these bales of seaweed to town before it gets too late." It took Miriam a while to hitch the seahorses to the wagon. They neighed and whinnied just like horses on land. "That's odd," said Miriam. "They sound just like real horses." "They are real horses," said the octopus. He was tossing bales of seaweed into the wagon 8 handfuls at a time. Once the octopus had loaded the wagon, he jumped into the driver's seat. "Hop on board, young lady," he said to Miriam. "By the way, I'm Ozzy. Thanks for your help." Ozzy held out 4 free hands. Miriam didn't know which one to shake first. As the wagon rolled along, Miriam was amazed at all the sea creatures she saw. A school of fish was heading home after a long day of learning. A sea turtle was having his shell cleaned by a seal. 2 crabs played tug of war with seaweed. They all waved to Ozzy. Ozzy grinned, waved back, and guided the horses down the road. "Ozzy, my friend," said a loud voice behind the wagon. "How's it going?" Miriam and Ozzy turned to find themselves face to face with a giant white shark. The horses froze in their tracks. "You know where a hungry shark might take care of a big appetite?" asked the shark. "Only if you like seaweed," Ozzy replied nervously. "I don't really like vegetables," said the shark, "but you must have something tasty in your wagon." The shark smiled, showing his giant shark teeth. "Quick!" Ozzy yelled to Miriam. "The seaweed!" With all 8 of his arms, Ozzy started throwing bales of seaweed at the shark. Miriam threw them too. The bales bounced off the shark's nose. He looked angry. Miriam was sure she was about to be dinner, when all of a sudden... Miriam sat up in bed. Her heart raced. She waved her arms wildly, as if she were throwing something. It took a full minute for her to calm down. "Phew," she finally said. "It was only a dream. I really dove into that book." Miriam laughed. Then she looked over the side of her bed to find her book. What she saw startled her. There, covering the floor, was a bunch of seaweed.